Budget 2019 is indeed the transformational one for the economy and the citizens of Guyana. I join with the rest of my colleagues in congratulating the Honourable Finance Minister for a budget well delivered. Mr. Speaker, in 2019, agriculture will continue to contribute 16% to the economy through inputs in the areas of livestock, fisheries, crops, drainage and irrigation, education, hydrometeorology, pesticide management, and marketing. I must add that agriculture has received $17.1 billion in 2019. Mr. Speaker, food security and agricultural-led growth hinges on a combination of institutions, policies, and infrastructure to deliver market access, all-encompassing economic growth and food security and nutrition, especially now that first oil is expected in 2020. Agriculture contributes $378 million in US dollars in foreign exchange to Guyana. However, our food import bill is $252 million US dollars. Therefore, our diversification strategy focuses on import substitution and export promotion. With an investment of over $60 million US dollars in agriculture over the past decade, the Ministry of Agriculture has been addressing all areas of food security, including the reorganization of the support systems, legislative upgrades, enhancing production, and the implementation of new standards. Current projects such as the Sustainable Agricultural Development Project and the Rural Agricultural Infrastructure Development Project, among others, all have a component to support the implementation of food safety standards, quality control, and traceability in the production process. These actions are not only geared towards ensuring that Guyana can secure external markets for its agricultural products, but also securing our own food supply. Furthermore, to build our institutions, policies, and infrastructure, there is need for more efficient service delivery in our extension system. In 2019, we will review and strengthen this area of activity. We will continue our efforts in building our database for decision-making for the agricultural sector via the agricultural census with the Bureau of Statistics and the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation in Agriculture. We at the Ministry of Agriculture are pleased with amendments to the customs duty and value-added tax, specifically for the exemption of pesticides and limestone used in the agricultural sector. The exemption from VAT and waiver on the import duty for boats will also be beneficial to the farmers in rural and riverine areas. Mr. Speaker, 2018 is the first year in which the sugar industry's production has been restricted to 3 operating estate factories: Albion, Blairmont, and Eiffel. Production from these has been significantly stronger than that achieved in 2017, when the combined output was 88,000 tons of sugar. Mr. Speaker, as of today, we are confident we will surpass the target of 98,000 tons and have revised our 2018 production target to 103,000 tons of sugar. In 2018, the estates were able to improve productivity with a resultant increase in overall sugar production as a result of good agricultural practices and improved timing of operations and in-field inputs, and attention to detail and engineering support to the factories. The Sugar Industry Strategic Plan 2018 to 2021 anticipates production of 113,262 tons in 2019, 131,812 tons in 2020, and 143,341 tons by 2021. To achieve these estimates, the requisite capital investments of over $17 billion will be required in the next 3 years in a timely manner to ensure security of production, reducing costs, and maximizing the quality of the end product. The initiation of a project for construction of a cogeneration facility at Albion Factory is also planned during this period. Further, plantation white sugar is planned to commence at Albion in 2021. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to report that our caring government, having invested $1 billion per month for the survival of the sugar industry since 2015, over $37 billion, have paid severance to all employees who were severed at the end of 2017. This was done on November the 30th. The whales estate workers have not been paid, and hopefully they might be paid before the end of this week. The reason for that is this. The Wales estate was a different kettle of fish. They were severed at the end of 2016, and they were offered employment, some of them. Those who were not needed were severed and received their severance. Those who were offered employment at IFLOT, approximately half of those accepted and were taken from Wales to sell to IFLOT every day. The others did not accept the offer. This went to court, and the court was to decide whether, having offered a person employment, whether he can still opt for severance. Circumstances overtook that situation at the end of 2017, when the Wales estate, along with Rosal, Enmore, and Skeldon, were divested, or vested in Nissan. Gaisu could therefore no longer own Wales and could no longer raise the issue that they are offering people employment and they continue working at Wales. So we decided to settle. This afternoon, I think at 3 o'clock, Justice Kassoon is supposed to rule on the matter. And I think the matter basically is a severance, 6%, 4%, or whatever. Severance of the interest, The severance is already calculated. So by this afternoon we'll know, and hopefully before weekend, they will be paid. Mr. Speaker, in 2018, rice production is projected to increase by 1.9% to 642,210 metric tons. This increase is due to improvements in yields and transferring better agronomic and management practices to our rice farmers. As of November, paddy production figures were 959,739 metric tons, with farmers receiving as much as $3,300 per bag in regions 4 and 5. In 2019, rice production is expected to increase by 1% to 648,456 tons, whilst exports are projected at 530 metric tons. Export of rice and rice byproducts currently reach 34 countries in CARICOM, the European Union, Latin America, and West Africa. I am pleased to report that in 2018, we expanded our export markets to West Africa, Abidjan, Benin, and the Ivory Coast, and will introduce at least 2 new export markets in 2019. Mr. Speaker, in 2018, the JRDB released a new high-yielding variety, JRDB 15, with approximately 2,497 hectares sown for the second crop of 2018, and 3,180 hectares thus far for the first crop of 2019. The national yield has generally increased to about 91 bags per hectare, or 37 bags per acre. Additionally, in 2019, we aim to produce a salt-tolerant variety. Mr. Speaker, through the Malaysia Rice Production Reverse Linkage Project, the industry will be producing high-quality seed of internationally acceptable quality by establishing a national seed certification program and producing 3 new varieties, 1 aromatic and 2 hybrids, along with the development of downstream rice-related products to enhance the supply chain. Mr. Speaker, as we strive to transform the economy, we are targeting the value addition of rice in new products, such as wheat composite flour, utilizing 20% rice flour, blended with 80% wheat flour. We will target this use in bakeries in 2019 to further expand the production of gluten-free products. The JRDB continues with their exemplary transfer of technology. We have produced and made accessible to rice farmers 27,617 bags of high-quality seeds from the Rice Research Station. Further, in keeping with the green agenda to address the challenges of climate change, JRDB has started focusing on best practices for climate-smart agriculture, focusing on soil health management, zero burning of rice straw, minimizing the usage of pesticides, balanced agronomic nutrition, and integrated pest management. Mr. Speaker, through our Green State Development Strategy, our nation has determined that we would adopt a green solution to our agricultural development, and in so doing, expand agricultural production inland, where the effects of climate change and flooding will be minimal and deforestation will not be necessary. The intermediate and Rupununi savannas, which are predominantly grasslands, are the prime locations for the expansion of selected crops and livestock production. It is envisaged that a suitable integrated farming production system would be employed. Since this government took office in 2015, we have clearly detailed our vision for the agricultural development in the intermediate savannas. We have actively pursued an integrated approach to agricultural development utilizing public-private partnerships. In 2019, the Mano Julio Group from Brazil is scheduled to commence phase one of their 50,000-hectare mega farm targeting corn and soybean in the first 5,000 hectares. Phases 2 and 3 entail producing animal feed and bioethanol. This project will ultimately create 4,000 jobs and is expected to earn $50 million of foreign currency annually. More so, to ensure the realization of the area's agricultural potential, we will commence the development of the $220 million Ibini agricultural research facilities. We will commence research programs in cassava, peanuts, orchards, and livestock, cattle, and small ruminants in 2019. In 2019, the Hinterland Environmentally Sustainable Agricultural Development Project will see investments in 40 communities in regions 9 and 1. It targets ongoing production of cassava byproducts, cattle, fruits and fruit juices, cashew nuts, honey in region 9, while in region 1, there are ongoing programs in ginger, turmeric, coffee, cassava, cocoa, and honey. In terms of addressing our water needs, the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, drawing on the achievements of the rain harvesting works in Region 9, will invest $40 million in Region 8 for development of irrigation systems in Paramakatoy, Kato, Bamboo Creek, and other areas. South Rupununi will also see rain harvesting works to the value of $20 million. Mr. Speaker, the other crop sector has shown consistent growth rates over the past 3 years. In 2019, the sector is projected to grow by at least 4%. Significant growth is expected in coconut, plantain, pepper, spice, and pineapple production. In 2019, emphasis will be placed on increasing crop production and productivity, enhancing diversification, promoting green agricultural practices, transferring appropriate and relevant technologies, farmers training, improving accessibility to soil and land use information, hinterland agricultural development, safeguarding Guyana's agriculture, and mangrove management restoration. Mr. Speaker, the imports of carrots, onion, garlic, cauliflower, broccoli, turmeric, ginger, and potato in 2017 was $2.7 billion Guyana dollars. We have assiduously pursued these lucrative domestic markets for our local farmers. Potato imports represent about 50% of this value, $1.3 billion. As such, NARI in the next few years will ensure the regular availability of planting material using the newly acquired potato seed storage facility, which will ensure the regular availability of planting material. With respect to onions, it is projected that by 2020, about 50% of local demands will be satisfied. Mr. Speaker, regarding e-agriculture, a land resource assessment for agricultural production in Guyana will commence. The main objective will be to create land suitability maps for crops at scales 1 in 100,000 and larger for available agricultural lands in Guyana. The results of the assessment are to be used in user-friendly, geospatial, downloadable applications that are compatible with handheld devices, namely smartphones and tablets. This will enable users in the field to have access and to identify soil types, land suitability for specified crops, soil limitations, and amendments needed for successful agricultural production. So e-agriculture is on the rise, Mr. Speaker. Currently, drones are being used in Jamaica and Brazil at present for pest control and fertilization, and in China, the use of drones for seeding is on the rise. I am advised that a locally registered firm, Agri Drone Solutions, will be commencing operations in the first quarter of 2019. The company will be offering pest control and liquid fertilization services, I should also mention that drones are presently used extensively throughout this hemisphere for field inspection to discover problems in a timely manner. Mr. Speaker, the government has been actively pursuing the revitalization of the coconut industry through NARI and the Hope Coconut Estate. The National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute has been working very closely with estate owners to ensure that coconut production is maximized through improved agronomic practices as well as for the supply of planting material. The Hope Estate has established its own coconut germplasm and a coconut demonstration plot, moving its seedling production from 1,500 per annum in 2016 to 100,000 per annum in 2018. The Hope Estate will act as a springboard for development and expansion of the coconut sector, making it both more commercialized and productive for the benefit of all. The Guyana Livestock Development Authority has been diligently pursuing the adoption of appropriate technology, improved support services, and infrastructural development to stimulate increased productivity. As a result, in 2018, livestock production is projected to increase by 21.1%, one of the largest end-of-year growth rates in recent times. In 2019, we will maintain these development strategies to ensure that the full potential of livestock is exploited. As such, the 2019 livestock production target is an increase of 2.3%. Guyana is self-sufficient in livestock products, with the exception of milk and other dairy products. Thus, the livestock subsector plays a vital role in improving and sustaining the nation's food and nutrition security. By producing safe and wholesome livestock products, with regards to milk and other dairy products, while plans are underway for the establishment of a private milk plant, the GLDA has been supporting dairy farmers with necessary breeding stock and practices to develop the national herd. Livestock imports show a decline in the quantity of livestock products from 12,800 metric tons in 2015 to 8.5 metric tons in 2017. The value of livestock products imported was quite high, some $5 billion. Hence, our policies are geared towards self-sufficiency, particularly in milk and other dairy products, to increase our production base. Our animal health programs are aimed at limiting the import of disease on animal production through disease monitoring, veterinary investigation, and legislation, public health and meat inspection. The Veterinary Service Laboratory broke new ground in 2018 by diagnosing bovine rabies. This was a first for the laboratory, and as a result, eliminates the need to seek assistance from elsewhere to confirm the status of this disease. Additionally, the laboratory quality management system continues to develop to facilitate early certification. Food safety and the production of wholesome food will always be a concern to the GLDA and the nation as a whole. In this regard, we are working assiduously to ensure that we improve the slaughter and processing facilities for meat and meat products. We will commence the building of a state-of-the-art abattoir in 2019 at Anbawak in Region 5, at the completion of which we would be in a position to not only export meat, but more importantly, to meet the food health standards that are requisite for the supply of beef to the hospitality and some other sectors in Guyana. In order to maintain our status of being self-sufficient in meat and enhance food security, the GLDA continues to offer toll hatching services in the duck farming community. To date, we have been responsible for assisting the duck rearing community by hatching approximately 250,000 ducklings for farmers and made available for sale 103,000 ducklings from our own flock, thus assisting in ensuring that enough duck meat is available for the consuming public. Furthermore, regarding our Black Giant poultry program, as of November 2018, GLDA produced approximately 27,484 Black Giant eggs, from which a total of 15,277 healthy chicks were hatched. Approximately 3,000 were distributed to hinterland communities in regions 1, 7, 8, and 9. And additionally, approximately 12,000 chicks were sold to over 200 poultry farmers from the coastal communities in regions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. In 2019, GLDA is expected to produce as much as 24,000 chicks to satisfy the demand of the coastal poultry farmers and an additional 6,000 chicks for the hinterland communities. Mr. Speaker, the fishery sector is made up of three primary components: marine fishery, inshore artisanal fishery, and aquaculture and inland fishery. The offshore industrial fishery consists of 114 trawlers, 8 fish shrimp processing plants, and numerous wharves and dry docking facilities. The inshore artisanal fishery consists of approximately 1,315 vessels, and there are about 4,500 small-scale fishermen. Therefore, activities such as increased monitoring, control, and surveillance of fishing vessels are ongoing and continuous to ensure that they are licensed and are adhering to sustainable harvesting practices. The use of a GPS vessel monitoring system is expected to be utilized by all vessels in the future to ensure safety and tracking at sea and to control illegal, unregulated, and unreported activities. For 2019, we anticipate a 1.9% growth rate to the better fishing conditions, compliance with standards to access external markets, and an increase in the number of vessels. Thus far in 2018, we have harvested just about 32,000 metric tons of seafood, and we exported 18,561 metric tons valued at $12,370,181,000. After working assiduously with the Guyana Association of Trawler Owners and Seafood Processors over the years, we are closer to acquiring the Marine Stewardship Certificate for our seabob industry. The Fisheries Management Plan 218 to 223, the Seabob Management Plan, and Captain Code of Conduct for trawlers are expected to be finalized and approved by my ministry in the first half of 2019. Mr. Speaker, aquaponics was introduced to 7 secondary schools across coastal regions and 1 in Linden. Technical assistance was offered to the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs in Mabaroom in Region 1, Kopinam in Region 8, and Cashew Island in Region 6. Aquaponics demonstration units will be developed in Regions 1, 8, and 9. Research on the development of local fish feeds will be enhanced with the recent purchase of a feed machine, and further training of farmers and villagers in the hinterland will continue. Mr. Speaker, in 2019, the development of aquaculture regulations would facilitate exports. The development of local feeds should reduce the cost of production, thereby making farmed fish more competitive. The use of other species of fish and shrimp will be accelerated to allow a wide diversity of farmed fish available to the public. However, the development of our deep-sea fishery will remain a priority, and it is expected that more local companies will be licensed to participate in this part of the industry. Mr. Speaker, in the area of agri-business development, the Ghana Marketing Corporation conducted many visits to create linkages between agro-processors and prospective buyers. Continuous training will be provided to agro-processors to ensure that these products are marketed and advertised effectively. In 2019, GMC will continue to work along with agro-processors to ensure that they have improved labeling and packaging through the availability of nutritional facts and labels. In 2018, the GMC trained approximately 376 individuals in areas such as marketing, agri-business development, labeling and packaging, cost of production analysis, post-harvesting management, among others. Mr. Speaker, one of the main constraints to development for agro-processing industry is lack of finance. In this regard, we are extremely happy that agro-processors can access $100 million available from the Small Business Bureau for 2019. Further, with our partnership and consultation with the commercial banks, in 2019, the Ghana Marketing Corporation will be issuing letters of recommendation to selected commercial banks to assist in adding leverage to agro-processors or farmers' applications for loans for financing their businesses. Mr. Speaker, there are 14 Guyana shop corners nationally, with 3 new corners established to date in 2018, namely in Cotton Tree, New Amsterdam, and Suriname. This initiative will continue in 2019. Further, a market study will be undertaken in Canada with the aim of having at least 1 Guyana shop corner extra-regional and to have an agent to market the corporation's plantain chips. To date, in 2018, non-traditional agricultural exports are recorded at 9,362 metric tons, valued at $13 million US. There's a 27% increase in ginger exports, a 19.6% increase in the export of limes, an increase of 17.9% in watermelons, and a 13.1% increase in pumpkins when compared with the corresponding period last year. Notably, regional exports increased by 23% during the period January to October when compared to the same period in 2017. Mr. Speaker, the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority continues to plan and implement systems to adapt the highly vulnerable and high-risk areas of the country to the effects of climate change while developing new areas for agricultural purposes. Mr. Speaker, for us to be able to cope with unpredictable and extreme weather conditions, the existing 1.5 inches of rainfall in 24 hours drainage capacity is insufficient, and there is need to increase that value to at least 3.5 inches in 24 hours. However, the higher the drainage coefficient, the greater the capital investment required. This target is a major driving force in NDIA's development plans. Areas such as Buxton and Horstelling-Mocha, which received significant capital investments in 2018, will exceed the 3.5 inches target. With a 2019 overall budget of $7.5 billion, vulnerable areas such as Pomeroon, Friendship, East Bank, Demerara will receive over $30 million each for rehabilitation works to reduce flooding. The NDIA currently directly oversees the operation of 134 drainage pumps in Guyana. In 2019, the NDIA will add 10 new fixed pumps, 3 new mobile pumps, and rehabilitate 8 pump stations to the DNI network. This will benefit approximately 39,000 acres of rice and cash crop cultivation and cattle, in addition to the close-by villages. Residents in Hampton Court and Devonshire Castle in Region 2, then Amstel in Region 3, Hope and Newton Zoo in Region 4, Trafalgar and Mora Point in Region 5, and Rose Hall in Region 6 will soon benefit from the placement of the fixed pumps within their communities, which will help to restrict flooding. In Georgetown, NDIA will partner with the Mayor and City Council for the rehabilitation and operation and maintenance of the primary drainage system. In 2019, NDIA will be responsible for 51,300 meters of main drainage canals in Georgetown, including the Dungna, Lily and Bap Pump Station, South Road, Rhineville, North and South, among others. An allocation of $274 million will be spent on Georgetown during 2019. 3 high-capacity mobile drainage pumps will be installed in the city to reduce the occurrence of flooding at Church Street, Sussex Street, and Rhineville. In 2019, agricultural expansion areas totaling 3,000 acres in Parish, Region 6, Free and Easy and La Harmony in Region 3, and Mahaica Creek in Region 5 will be developed with the rehabilitation of the DNI system. In 2018, 5,000 acres of infrastructural works were completed in Buxton, Mocha, and Hope in Region 4, Friendly Farmers in Region 6, among others. Mr. Speaker, $2.7 billion worth of maintenance, covering 2,500 miles of drainage and irrigation channels, will be done in 2019. We will give greater emphasis on manual monthly maintenance, as it has the potential of creating employment for over 2,000 workers. Mr. Speaker, the 2019 budget for the Mica-Miconia Barry Agricultural Development Authority cares for the continued construction of the sluice at the Edward West Bank, Berbice. It is expected to improve the drainage of over 5,000 acres of agricultural land in 2018. The MMA ADA rehabilitated 42 miles of drains and canals, resuscitated sluices to the sum of $40.8 million in number 2829 village, Lovely Lass, Golden Grove Village, and Bush Lot, and further details were very well presented by Honourable Member Jennifer Way, who is a member of the Board of Directors of MMA ADA. The long-term objective of the Rural Agricultural Infrastructure Development Project is to improve the drainage and irrigation systems and access dams in selected rural farming communities in Buxton, Mocha, Triumph, and Ithaca in Regions 4 and 5. In 2018, we have constructed a pump station for Horstelling-Mocha, 75 miles of canals and drains with new and rehabilitated structures, 20 kilometers of fair weather dams, cleared approximately 150 acres of land for cultivation. Mr. Speaker, the Hydrometeorological Service's general responsibility includes the monitoring and evaluating the weather and water resources in Guyana, and to actively support the government in disaster risk management. In 2018, the Hydromet Service successfully completed the construction of its first water quality laboratory. The facility will perform chemical, biological, and physical testing of water samples from all of Guyana's waters, be it ground or surface water. This, Mr. Speaker, is a landmark achievement for the Hydromet Service in the area of water resources management, as under the Water and Sewerage Act 2002, the first function of the department is to establish, manage, and operate national systems to monitor the availability, quality, and use of surface water and groundwater. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, the department continues to expand its rainfall monitoring network to a total of 167 stations across the country. The number of climatological stations has also increased, with a new station being established at Anna in North Rupinuni, bringing total climatological stations across the country to 8. The number of automatic weather stations has also increased to 24, with 3 being specifically configured for agricultural meteorological data collection.
Honourable Minister, you have 5 minutes remaining.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in 2019, we will spend $24 million to upgrade our satellite receiving systems to the new generation of weather-related satellites. This will provide our forecasters with a direct relay to state-of-the-art weather-related data and technology to enhance our country's forecasting abilities. Additionally, the service will install another 20 automatic weather stations in 2019 as part of a grant. These stations will further strengthen and expand the country's Hydromet network and will provide valuable data for disaster risk reduction, agricultural development, energy generation, and engineering studies and designs. Mr. Speaker, in 2018, the Guyana School of Agriculture graduated 97 students in 5 programs offered. The school implemented the reformed curriculum in the 2018-19 academic year and facilitated the placement of 83 unsponsored graduates on short-term assignments. They constructed a 4,200 square foot shade house, which will serve as a training model to provide training in protected agriculture, upgraded the agro-processing unit with a pasteurizer, chiller, oven, and refractometers, and furnished the livestock farm with new equipment and new textbooks for the library. In 2019, GSA will further strengthen the agro-processing facility at the Morocco campus to provide a wide range of teaching and business incubating services. The establishment of an agro-processing facility costing $37.5 million at the Essecobo campus will provide training for students and small agro-processors in agro-processing in Region 2 and adjoining regions. This facility will also serve as a business incubation center for small agro-processors. As we move to the digital age, the school will also provide online programs across the length and breadth of Guyana and beyond through the use of ICT. Mr. Speaker, the sound chemicals management is an integral part of sustainable development in any country, more importantly to us here in Guyana. As we promote sustainability in shape of greener agricultural sector and society, we are promoting the registration of lesser toxic pesticides, such as biopesticides, encouraging the reduction and dependency of chemical pesticides, and introduction and implementation of integrated pest and vector management initiatives. The Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board continues to reduce the transboundary movement of illegal hazardous chemicals through monitoring of our ports of entry. To date, 2,546 import licenses have been issued, coupled with inspections of imported materials at ports of entry. Enforcement activities also resulted in the confiscation of approximately 2 tons of illegal pesticides and toxic chemicals. The board contributes to ensuring food safety through monitoring the use patterns and practices of chemicals by examining pesticide residues in agricultural produce. This ensures food safety.
Honourable Minister, you have 2 minutes remaining.
And supports trade of locally produced agricultural commodities. Formulated project analysis also allows for monitoring the quality of pesticides imported for use in Guyana. The newly expanded facilities laboratory will also allow for the monitoring of the quality of fertilizers used by the agriculture sector. Certification and accreditation of the laboratory will enhance the revenue generation capacity of the board to achieve its mandate. In closing, Mr. Speaker, with the implementation of all of the initiatives that we have been pursuing in 2019 and over the next 3 years, the Ministry of Agriculture will ensure that we are actively transforming the economy, empowering people, building sustainable communities for the good life. I therefore commend this budget to this House for its approval.